Hi. Today's vlog is only tangentially about the fact that I'm pregnant in that I'm pregnant. And I'm actually in the middle of a glucose test right now, so I have to kill some time. Also, I had a friend recently say to me, after I've been ranting about something, wow, being pregnant has not mellowed you at all, has it? And I guess it hasn't, because we're about to do some science. Because there's something I cannot abide, and that is fake science. There's been a video going around on YouTube recently. It is someone pours a few tablespoons of milk into a Coca-Cola and lets it sit. There's a time lapse, it's about 6 hours, then comes back and it's all separated and a bunch of the whey and everything else is at the bottom of the cup, and the takeaway is apparently, oh my gosh, this is so disgusting, you'll never want to drink Coke again. But I feel like that is a faulty conclusion, and we're going to do a little experiment, all right? So for our experiment, as you can see, I've already put pretty much equal amounts of milk into these 4 cups. We'll handle this one in a minute, and this is just milk. This is a control. So in the experiment, it's on the internet, they use Coca-Cola. So I bought some Coca-Cola, and I also bought some Diet Coke. We'll see. Okay, so here's a Coca-Cola. We'll pour this into here. Delicious. Okay, I usually don't like to waste food, but this is science. I'm also going to have a control over here of Coca-Cola. We're going to leave this sitting out at room temperature for 6 hours and see what happens to it. As well, we're going to leave the milk sitting out at room temperature for 6 hours and see what happens to it. So that looks like that's probably good. Secondly, here we have a Diet Coke. No sugar, but artificial sweeteners. We'll see how that goes. Okay. Now here we have Blue Sky, which is a natural soda. The ingredients in this are filtered carbonated water, real sugar, I thought it said ham, caramel color, which is from the sugar, and tartaric acid, natural cola, nut flavor, and citric acid. So these are natural sodas, which are allegedly healthier than all the crap that is in Coca-Cola. So we're going to try that. This all looks like something you get at Starbucks. And then finally, this is 100% pineapple juice from concentrate from HEB. I wanted to try something that had naturally occurring sugar and naturally occurring acid. This says pineapple juice from concentrate, filtered water, pineapple juice concentrate, and then an ascorbic acid, which is vitamin C. Okay. So this is like a big deal science experiment right here, people. We're going to let this sit for 6 hours. Right now it is 9:20. Now, if I may, I will go ahead and share my hypothesis, and if I'm wrong, I will try to stop being a ruiner. My family teases me that I always ruin things on the internet. I ruin some things on the internet, like I don't try to be douchey about it. For instance, there's this whole, Ellen DeGeneres talking to the old lady who says she loves Jesus but she drinks a little, and I never ruin that. You can Google it if you want to ruin it for yourself, because it's just a funny thing, and I don't mind people being happy. But fake science bothers me. Outright lies, misleading things get on my nerves. My hypothesis of this is every one of those items has acid in it. The acid is going to speed up the separation in the milk of the whey, or whatever whey is left. This is homogenized milk. I would be willing to bet that if you use raw milk, you would get totally different results. But I don't have access to raw milk anymore, so I can't do that experiment. Plus, it's like $7 and $9 a gallon, so I probably wouldn't waste it. But in my opinion, knowing what I know limitedly about science, is that the acid in the drink helps separate the whey from the water in the milk quickly. The whey is heavier, it's going to drop to the bottom, but because it is heavier, it's also going to attract the color, the sugar So those things are going to end up in the bottom of the glass if my results end up looking like the one on the internet. I could not find anything except for that original Russian guy. Everything else on the internet where it says mix milk and Coke, it was like a challenge and people drank it immediately, and I wouldn't. It looks disgusting. From that, you can have a certain finding, a certain conclusion, and you can conclude what is observable and what you can define based on science, which again, I don't claim to be a scientist. I can't tell you the molecular reason that that happens, that the way the milk separates, that it's heavier and it falls down, except for I understand gravity a little bit. But you can't then say, OMG, this will make you never want to drink Coke again. Because my other hypothesis is that the Coke that's at room temperature for 6 hours will be flat in 6 hours, but it'll still resemble Coke. So the thing that makes the difference is adding the milk. Why doesn't that make me never want to drink milk again if milk is such a destructive catalyst? And neither of those is a workable conclusion because it's based on something that's other than science. I don't know. So anyway, we will check back with you guys in 6 hours and we'll see what we come up with. I'm going to cover these up because my cats are weird and they will drink this stuff even though it looks vile. You can see a lot of these drinks have calmed down. The natural drink hasn't calmed down yet. That's pretty interesting. So we'll see you in 6 hours.
Blinding me with science.
Science?
Science! I can smell the chemicals. Blinding me with science. 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 Science.
Science?
Science. It's poetry in motion.
Poetry in motion.
And when she turned her eyes to me, as deep as any ocean, as sweet as any harmony. Oh, she blinded me with science. Blinded me with science. And failed me in...
Okay, so it has been 6 hours, which is what the original experiment did. And so far, the results are really anticlimactic, okay? Over here we have the Coke. It still looks, except for the foam, pretty much exactly like it looked when we did it. There's a little bit of curd, white, milky stuff at the top. This is the Diet Coke. It actually even has a little more of the curdling, which, again, I'm guessing is because of the acid level. Here's the natural drink. That foam kind of created a little scum that's pretty disgusting looking. And then the most separated one so far is the pineapple juice. I'm willing to bet that's because, number one, I actually used more juice than I did sodas because it didn't foam up, and the acid level is probably higher. So what I'm going to do, but the milk and the Coke controls just still look the exact same. Coke looks a little flat, but it's nothing weird's happening to it in the milk. Kind of smells funny, but that's okay. So since in the video the guy used, it looked like either a 12 or 16 ounce bottle of soda with 3 tablespoons of milk, I am willing to concede that it's possible that the acid levels in my cups weren't high enough to make this happen as quickly. So what I'm going to do is I have plans tonight. I'm going to leave this sitting here and I'm going to check back in when I get home, which will be at about 9:30. That will mean that we have done this for 12 hours, thus doubling the time, and we'll see what kind of a difference we have at 9:30 tonight. It's 9:15, not quite 9:30, but see, now it's nighttime. But I'm tired, so I want to finish this. Here we have the 4 different drinks mixed. As you can see, nearly 12 hours after we mixed Coca-Cola and milk, it's not doing anything. Diet Coke, not much different than it was when we looked at it at 3:30 in the afternoon. Still looks kind of like a latte or something. Blue Sky, foamy crud at the top, still nothing. Then the most dramatic one is the pineapple, which separated. And it settled a little bit since 3:30. Not a whole lot, kind of the same. A lot of liquid on top, a lot of pulp, and a lot of curds on the bottom. And then the Coke, which was untreated with milk, still looks like Coke. And then this milk. and it left this scummy surface tension thing around the edge. I don't know enough about the person who did this originally to say he faked his results. See, my whole point is that we're going to be careful when we come to conclusions based on just a little bit of information. I can't say anything about that man's results. For all I know, in Russia, they process their milk differently than we do. It may have had been less homogenized, so the curds may have separated out faster. It may have been a raw kind of milk. It may have been a different fat to water ratio. I don't know. They may also process their coca-cola differently than we do. There could be a barometric pressure issue. There could be a elevation issue. All these things could have played into his getting different results than I did. I don't have enough information to tell you why they were different. We can only see, obviously, the results were different. I did all this just because it annoys me that people jump to conclusions based on information that is either incomplete or faulty. For this, so many headlines said, oh my gosh, you'll never drink Coke again. Well, you don't have to drink Coke. It's fine if you think it's disgusting, but don't think it's disgusting because if you add milk to it, it may separate. Because if you add vinegar to milk, milk separates, and people do it all the time, and we call it buttermilk. It seems like people don't have a basic knowledge of kitchen science, I guess. Another one that I'll just give you as a freebie that is going around is somebody pours a 2 liter of Coke into a saucepan and boils it down, and it becomes caramel, basically, and everybody's like, this is disgusting, I'll never drink Coke, this is gross. That product you're left with is what Coke is before you add water. It's a concentrated mixture of sugar and caramel coloring and all the other fake stuff that's in Coke, and if you don't like it, that's fine, don't drink it, but it's not disgusting because that's what it looks like when you boil it down, because that's what it is. I promise you, if you go to Whole Foods and you buy certified organic Meyer's lemons and you buy fair trade sugar in the raw and you get triple filtered water and you make lemonade at home and then you boil it down, when the water boils out, you'll have the same thing. It'll be sludge, it'll be syrup, it'll be lemon, and it'll be healthier. But what happens when you boil water out of a sauce, of a drink, if it has sugar, it's going to become a syrup. If it doesn't have sugar, let's say you use wine to deglaze a pan, it's going to boil down and become really concentrated flavors of whatever was in that pan before you deglaze it. It's how we make gravy. It's all natural stuff. And our only conclusion we can make from this is that every one of our soda products failed to coagulate the milk very dramatically. The pineapple did curdle it fairly well, but by itself, in 12-hour room temperature Coke is pretty much the same as fresh Coke, except that it's flat and it may now have cat hairs in it. So be careful what you're sharing on the internet.
It's poetry in motion.
Poetry in motion.
And when she turned her eyes to me, as deep as any ocean, as sweet as any harmony. Oh, she blinded me with science.
Blinded me with science.
Blinded me with science.